Hello and welcome to my channel. Say hi to a happy day. In this channel, I would like to share tales and stories I personally picked and are my kids' favorite book stories. Let's enjoy listening while I read to you a story. Who cares? Pooh cares. One bright and cheery day in the 100-acre wood, a mama duck waited patiently for her eggs to hatch. Suddenly, 3 fuzzy yellow ducklings spoke through their spotted shells. Mama duck greeted them with a loud and proud quack. She then led her ducklings to the pond for their first swimming lesson. But Mama duck didn't notice that one spotted egg was left behind. When the tiny duckling poked out from this shell, he began to quack softly for his mama. But there was no answer, so he sat and waited, and waited, and waited. Now, on this very same day in the 100-acre wood, Winnie the Pooh and his best friend Piglet decided to go for a morning stroll. It wasn't long before Piglet's ears perked up. "Pooh," he said, "do you hear something?" Pooh listened carefully. "I believe I do," he answered. Pooh parted some lilies to discover a tiny fuzzy duckling sitting there. "We must find his mother," said Pooh. So the two friends gently nudged the duckling out of his nest and went off to search. But there were no ducks in sight. "There's only one thing to do now," said Pooh. "We shall take him to my house." "Before we go," said Piglet, "this little duckling needs a name." "Oh, yes," Pooh agreed. "And I think you just named him." "I did?" asked Piglet. "Funny, I don't remember." "Little," said Pooh. "That's what we'll call him, because he is so very that." "Follow us, Little," said Piglet with a giggle. "We are taking you to Pooh's house." At Pooh's house, the friends found a small box to make into a comfy bed for Little. Pooh let the duckling borrow a blanket so he'd be nice and cozy, and Piglet set up a nightlight in case he was afraid of the dark. Then Piglet filled a saucer with water and left it next to Little's new bed. "Just in case he gets thirsty," he said. The next morning, Pooh, Piglet, and Little went to visit Rabbit for their first meal of the day. "We were wondering if you might have a little something for him to eat," Pooh said. Exactly 1 minute later, Rabbit presented Little with a plate of tiny green beans, peas, and half a chopped tomato. After breakfast, Pooh and Piglet took Little to Kanga and Ruth's house. "Oh boy, Mama," said Ruth. "I have a new friend. I'm going to teach him all my games." The first game was follow the leader. After a while, Rue moved on to playing hide and seek. Soon after, Little was in for something special, for there was nothing Rue loved more than making pies from soft, squishy mud. After a bath and a snack, Pooh and Piglet and Little headed home and stopped to visit Owl on the way. "Well, bust my break, aren't you something?" pronounced Owl. "Let me show you how to primp and plump those fuzzy yellow feathers of yours, dear fellow." After saying goodbye and thanking Owl, a fuller, fluffier Little waited home with Winnie the Pooh. The very next day, Tiger and Roo came to Pooh's house to give Little a bouncing lesson. "Hoo hoo hoo!" cried Tigger. "Let's bounce to the pond and take you for a swim, Little? So Little got his first lesson in bouncing, which for him was more like a long waddle followed by 2 quick hops. At the pond, Roo introduced Little to the most amazing creatures. Little took a ride on the back of a turtle, splashed with a playful perch, and bounced with a croaking frog. "I think he likes it here," said Roo. After their swim, Tigger bounced Roo and Little home. The next day, after a good night's sleep, Eeyore came by to show Little his home and to ask Little if he could teach him how to waddle. Little nodded willingly and began to waddle around the thistle patch. Then Eeyore began to waddle too. He waddled up, he waddled back, he waddled left, he waddled right. Then he tipped right over. "I knew it was too good to last," said Eeyore. When it was time to leave, Eeyore walked Little to Pooh's house. But before long, he realized they were lost. "Better just sit tight and wait for somebody to come and find us," Eeyore said. Eeyore and Little nestled together and took a little nap while they waited to be found. After what seemed like a very long while, Pooh and Piglet found them fast asleep beneath a willow tree. Together, the friends walked and waddled home to Pooh's house. When Pooh and Piglet put Little to bed, they heard the duckling quacking in his sleep. "Listen, Pooh," said Piglet. "I think he's quacking." "Mama!" "Oh dear," said Pooh. "Perhaps it's time to try and find Little's mother again." The next day, after taking Little to Conga's house, Pooh and Piglet found Mama Duck. After quite a lot of talking and clapping and quacking, Pooh and Piglet got her to accompany them to Kanga's house, and there followed a heartwarming reunion between Little and his mama. "I will miss Little," Pooh said to his friends, "but I'm happy that he is going to be with his family now, and he'll always be welcome here." The end. I hope you enjoy listening to this story. Who cares? Pooh cares. Please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to listen to more of our favorite book stories. See you soon!